Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boys, the Good Times Are Killing Us podcast, your home for the alternative world that is fucking weird and wild, the extended universe of our society. It's your boy, David. I'm joined by K-Town.
K-Town, the BK King.
And Marquise.
Yo, 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 yo.
And we're doing a special Spoilercast today, y'all. We just saw Cats.
Cats. We wanted to see Star Wars, but
it was sold out.
It was sold out. So then we tried to see Knives Out.
Yeah, Knives Out, but that was sold out. Then we were like, fuck it, let's go see Jumanji.
And that was sold out too.
Yeah, so we decided we would just go see Cats. So what were y'all's first takes of this film?
Dude, this shit was garbage.
No, dude. I definitely appreciated it from a furry standpoint. I wanted to fuck every cat in that movie.
I believe this movie was furry cultural appropriation, personally.
I mean, I can see that, but, I mean, they were wearing fur face.
And it also has Taylor Swift, am I right? Always coming, appropriating the cultures, right?
God,
was she really in the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah, she's
totally
in the movie.
It. Totally missed it. I must have blanked on that part.
She's in the movie.
All right, y'all, so let's plug it up. So follow us on Facebook, y'all. If this is your first time listening to us, follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. What's the Instagram tag again?
At Good Times Killing Us Podcast on Instagram.
And on Twitter.
At good_times_dead.
Okay. So, all right, guys, hold on. I'm getting some kind of weird transmission from my brain skull from the. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, we got you, motherfuckers. You know we went and saw Star Wars, baby.
Oh, we did see Star Wars, guys.
Shit, I seen it twice today.
Oh, shit, y'all. Yes, we actually, it's coming in now. We did actually see Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalker. And today we're here to spoil the whole fucking movie, so if you have not seen it,
you better tune out, bro, because we're about to fuck this shit up.
Yep, we're about to ruin the whole fucking movie. We're going to talk about our takes and all that. And you know what, this time, usually the Spoilercast, we go like event after event after event. But today we're just going to splooge all over this fucking movie.
Yeah, we just want to gush.
So I'm going to do something that I really wanted to do in the theater since I saw it for twice today. The second time I saw it, I really wanted to just stand up and yell out, "Raise a Palpatine!" She's the granddaughter of Palpatine.
Yep, there it is. There it is.
3 minutes in, you're fucked if you should have turned it off. It gave you a chance.
Fuck you.
Yeah, someone was like, spoilers, oh shit, I was just doing the dishes, fuck. I don't want to text and drive and...
Fuck. Could you imagine if that's how you get spoiled?
Yeah. You just weren't able to reach it close enough.
You know what? It's your fault, man.
You
should have went and saw the fucking movie.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
Go to see the movie, then play this episode.
Because
you get the popcorn before the movie, not after.
We need the hot corn before the movie, not after the movie.
All right. Alrighty, guys. So I guess let's just go around. I mean, what were you feeling going into this movie, and what you were expecting with the hype and everything going into it?
Yeah, I'm always so hyped going to see any Star Wars movie, dude. So it's like sitting there, like getting ready to go, and then like sitting in the theater when that opening crawl like starts and the music starts playing and the opening crawl goes. Like,
gets me every time.
Every time, dude.
Yeah.
Every time.
And
like just reading it, I'm like,
ooh, again?
I know we got one more paragraph. What's that one going to say?
3 paragraphs. That's all they used. 3 paragraphs, and they set up the whole fucking thing right there.
I will say when The Force Awakens came out, The Force Awakens, and I saw that scroll, I did tear up in the movie. I didn't tear up this time.
The Force Awakens felt different because that was like the first time seeing a Star Wars movie in the theater.
And like since I was like 12.
Yeah, dude. 10 years, I think. But
and the first lines are, Luke Skywalker has vanished. You're
like,
what?
Yes.
Luke, where are you?
You were right back in the shit immediately.
Immediately.
So for me, it's kind of weird because I had seen something about how, like the critics that I'd seen a few days before are apparently blowing up Rotten Tomatoes. I fucked up and I saw something about it on Facebook and I was like, what? And I went in and saw that it has a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe it has a 53. on Rotten Tomatoes, but like everyone was telling me that, like everyone I talked to today, everything I see on Facebook was like, no, it's great. Don't let the reviews ruin it for you. And that's the attitude I went in. I was like, you know what? Fuck these critics. I'm gonna go finish off this saga, and I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna go enjoy this movie.
I always feel that way about not even just Star Wars, especially about Star Wars, but about any movie. I can't like hear criticisms until I see it. And for Star Wars movies, like today, I had to just go on like social media blackout.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like I'm not even fucking with you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad that we saw it right away. We saw the day it came out.
The day it came out, yeah,
no risks.
Which we didn't even plan to do.
Dude, it was really hard for me not to spoil the whole movie. Because I saw it this morning at 11 o'clock, and then we just went and saw it together at 7.
Yeah, so I had to tell this dude to not even like make any faces or even breathe funny because he was giving away, not even giving away, but
no,
like
you were just like putting like your thesis out there for like certain things, and I was just like,
yeah, you could tell how K-Town was breathing and looking like
he's like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah,
that definitely is not going to happen.
or if that is going to happen, you're like, oh shit, you know. So I guess just get into our first takeaways. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What'd you like? Let's just splooge. What do we like about it?
I loved everything about it.
I did love everything about it for the most part, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a scene or something that really just upset me. There's a lot of things in Last Jedi. Last Jedi was my favorite Star Wars movie story-wise before this one came out.
Which is a hot take because it's much hated.
It's much hated.
I agree with you, too.
But
I love Last Jedi.
Watching it 2 or 3 times, there's a lot of things I pick up after the initial like shock value comes off of how amazing you think it is that I didn't like. I can't... Honestly, I've seen it twice now today, and I can't think of a particular scene or set of events that really upset me.
Or yeah, I can't think of it was another one where what was the movie like 2.5 hours long or so?
It was so fucking long.
And sometimes with like movies that have you fully captivated like it did, you don't even notice that time period. Like you know, like how much time passed.
I definitely noticed the time period in Last Jedi because the casino scene was fucking. That whole plot line was garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I did like, seeing all the familiar elements of a Star Wars movie. Like, everything was there that you needed. Everything, like, there are some moments, like, when Rey fucking just cut up fucking Kylo Ren's, what would you even call it? Like, that special TIE fighter? When she just did that flip and just cut that shit?
Yeah, dude,
and
that
then
was
Cut
sick.
the fucking wing off.
And when she destroyed that fucking ship and everything like that, I was completely on board. And she fucking killed Chewie, or so you thought. She killed fucking Chewie. I was like, oh shit, they're really going in.
Mark was completely taken aback in the theater when that
I didn't
happened.
realize how much that would fuck me up. I didn't expect to lose Chewie. So the idea of him being gone took me by complete surprise. I will say what I did definitely enjoy about this movie was Rey was on, like, off the jump, Rey's on her, like, Luke, Return of the Jedi shit.
Yeah,
she's fully fucking torqued.
She feels very isolated from everybody else, kind of, like, alienated, which went along eventually in the end with the whole idea of, like, you're not actually alone.
No, he's talking about, like, her level of, like...
Yeah, how much she stepped it up. Yeah, she stepped it up quite a bit. And you even see in that little training montage that she has, like, you're like,
the
okay.
rocks floating around her.
Yeah, this is not the same Rey from the last movie. She's much more evolved. Her power level is over 9,000.
Yeah, and when you see her just destroy that fucking whole ship just with her fucking force powers, that's when it clicked in my mind. I was like, oh shit, like for one, she just killed Chewie, and she's like, that's when I realized, I was like, okay, now we know where she comes from. And like we said, the Palpatine thing. She's the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. But here's I'm gonna bring it in with my main criticism of this movie.
What you got?
And it came right when I found out Chewie wasn't actually dead. And hear me out, because that was like symptomatic of like my only big complaint about this was it just plays it a little bit too safe, man. I was like, let it stick. I love Chewie. I've been with Chewie for a long time. He's my boy. Hey, baby, Chewie.
Baby, we love Chewbacca.
But you know what? When they killed Chewie, I was like, okay, it's real. It's really hitting now. This sticks.
The stakes are higher.
The stakes are higher. This is more realistic, and it just bummed me out when he came back. Everybody died and came back in this movie.
I understand what you're saying. It's like commit to something a little bit, but
hold on. They killed Han. They killed Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, what do you want from him?
What the fuck do you want?
Okay, yeah.
Princess Leia dies.
Oh, well, yeah. Princess Leia had to die in this one.
But I'm just saying they all died.
But in this one, they didn't. But in this movie, the final movie, they didn't kill anybody good. It's like, yeah, They killed Kylo Ren, but it's like, yeah, he had to die.
Payne
We
likes
knew
the
that was
Star
gonna
Wars
happen.
movies like Rogue One. He needs everybody.
I don't need everybody to
Everybody
die.
must dead.
I just seem to feel like
Everybody must dead.
Don't get me wrong. Aesthetically, I love the movie. I love seeing everything together. I love seeing these characters together again. I just feel they took it too safe. I feel like they were just kind of like, all right, let's just wrap this whole thing up, make it safe. Everyone's good at the end.
I feel like the Chewie thing was safe. I'll give you that. But I don't really see them playing it safe anywhere else. They did a lot of things that... If they were playing it safe, man, Kylo and fucking Rey would have went off into the sunset, got married, had a bunch of little Jedi babies, and, built a temple.
Ending.
Well, because of everything that Kylo had done, that probably would have not felt right. I think they're like, oh, we got to kill someone, so I guess we'll kill Kylo because there'll be problems if we let him survive, And to me, it was like I wanted to see more shit that maybe Ren did. Or Rey did that was maybe like wrong, and maybe her kind of like actually give in a little bit to her Palpatine side, where you're like, oh, there's a little bit of that in there.
You
but
want to
it's
see
like,
her stumble a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
She did though.
I mean, a little bit, but by the end,
She blew up the transport with Force lightning.
Yeah,
because she was angry. She gave into her feelings, which is very un-Jedi.
Mm-hmm. She
fucking stabbed Kylo, killed him. And she was literally getting ready to kill the Emperor in the end.
But still, none of it stuck, though. None of it really mattered.
Because deep down, she's a Jedi. She had the temptation. She fought against the temptation.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked it. I just felt like...
I think that's... I get that criticism. I think that's valid. I mean, K-Town, you've seen it twice today, so what's your main criticism, if any?
I really don't. I thought it was a great way to end the saga. It's the whole... I didn't really get the whole Rise of Skywalker thing until that last scene.
To the very end.
Yeah.
She goes back to Tatooine to the moisture farm Luke grew up on.
So many feels.
What'd y'all think of that when she said, when she was like, what's your name? I'm Rey. Okay, Rey who? And she was just like, and I was like, she's going to say Skywalker. She's going to say Skywalker.
I loved it.
I loved that, dude.
I loved it. Yeah, I did. I loved it.
I guess it's kind of cool that she was...
I honestly thought, like, okay...
I thought that was a beautiful end. And then
I'll say this much.
The fucking twin suns, man. That is probably my favorite cinematic fucking, like, scene, image-wise, like, ever. Is, like, Luke staring off into the fucking sunset on Tatooine, man.
The binary sunset is fucking beautiful. It's also really dangerous, man. Obi-Wan aged 50 years.
Oh, yeah,
like
dude.
19 years. Same with Luke's parents. I mean, Luke's aunt and uncle. Like, when you see them in the prequels.
Yeah, true. Dude,
they're
if you're
like
on
a
Tatooine,
young man and a young woman.
they gotta get that SPF on Tatooine,
Dude, you
boy,
really gotta
like-
get that, like, SPF 1 hundo or something.
Yeah,
It's a
damn.
dry
But-
desert, man. Things die faster in the
This
desert.
is my thing. And like I said, I just want to get criticisms out there. Anything I can think of, and I'm kind of digging for this. But like, I did think this in the movie theater was that like, why are we acting like being related to someone makes you inherently evil?
Yeah.
I mean, but that is
And
that's a thing you can argue in life.
Yeah, that's what I was
In real
saying.
life. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's what made me think
yeah.
it was in that last scene where the lady's like, "What's your name?" and she's like, "Rey," and then I'm like, "She want to say Palpatine?"
Yeah, she's
I
not-
don't
yeah, I
know
was
if
like,
I
she's
say
not gonna say-
Palpatine.
No,
Might be a tough look.
she denounces her heritage. She's proving that you don't have to give into your heritage. You know, Kylo, the whole thing with him is he's obsessed with what his grandfather was and who his grandfather was and carrying on his grandfather's legacy. Albeit it's completely convoluted because his grandfather ended up turning good in the end, but still, he was trying to live through his heritage. And
Well, that's the thing is he inherited the bad and the good of Anakin / Darth Vader. In the end, at the end of the day, the Skywalkers are good people, even when they get a little bit fucked up.
And strong in the Force.
Yeah, and strong in the Force.
So now that we got that out the way, we got criticisms.
Let's
out
talk
the
about
way.
some of our favorite
Yeah.
parts we want to dig apart.
so my big thing is kind of, it's not necessarily said in the film, but there's a lot of callbacks to the Old Republic. So if any of you guys are familiar with Knights of the Old Republic, it's a game that came out on like the original Xbox in like 2004. It's probably one of the best stories of Jedi. It's about the Jedi Civil War, where half of the Jedi turn Sith and they just start this huge galactic war with each other.
That's where it all began.
So in the first like 5 minutes, Kylo Ren goes to this temple where he finds Emperor Palpatine like surviving, and it's like this big giant just rock, like stone temple, where he's built like this unimaginable fleet of like planet destroying star destroyers. And it's like, it makes no sense on like how big they are. But if you go back to the Old Republic, they had something similar called a Star Forge. A Star Forge basically is what the Sith used to make all their weapons and capital starships and everything like that. But it used souls, was the way it built things. It would absorb souls and then it would build shit out of thin air for you. And the whole thing, Palpatine has all the souls of the Sith. Like, in the end, they have that whole Coliseum full of, like, millions of Sith.
Like Sith ghosts.
Just Sith ghosts. And, like, that's how he's fucking building. Like, if that's a Star Forge, which I'm almost 100% certain that's what that whole thing was a Star Forge. That's how he built all those
that,
ships.
like, fleet.
Out of fucking nowhere.
It better, because otherwise that whole fleet was just kind of like, oh, he just got...
It makes no sense. If that wasn't a Star Forge, it doesn't make sense to me how he could just build a fleet like that.
Yeah, when he had that whole fleet, I was just like,
like,
so he just got it? What?
It's like literally he has like a fucking 100,000 Star Destroyers, which is insane.
It's OD.
That'd be
And
like-
that was my main question was like, and I, you know, because maybe I definitely obviously want to see it again, but that was where I got a little confused as what was going on. I'm like, okay, so wait. So he's on some like other dimension type place, and he's got this whole super huge army. Who are the people on these ships? Are there people on these ships?
Yeah, I mean there are people on the ships, but I mean that he's
who
just
are
like
they?
Yeah.
They're stormtroopers. I mean he's been behind the scenes for 30 years.
Yeah. So he's been
none of this is canon anymore, but the extended universe, Palpatine made like 50 clones of himself.
Also, another thing I wanted to ask you. So, like in that opening scene when
With
Kylo
Snoke
goes there
and
Snoke and the
those
thing
are clones,
they're
man.
So was he like living through Snoke?
That's in the extended universe, which is now called Star Wars Legends, which isn't canon anymore, thanks Disney. But I mean, he would make clones, and like he would just basically like move his soul from body to body,
And
like
he
that's
said-
how he stayed alive forever.
And he said something similar to that effect to Rey, that like, you know, you strike me down and I'm gonna jump in your body and we're gonna keep the party rocking.
Yeah, it's hard to say what exactly is going on now that all this stuff we took as lore before is no longer canon.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing I was like, damn, I really want to understand a little better what exactly was going on there. But I mean, it still was dope.
My favorite part of the movie was when, when Rey gets kind of like knocked down by Emperor Palpatine, and he's like fucking up the space, just like with his hands.
Like this super fucking
Force lightning.
Yeah, and like you said, he's been using the powers of like all these Sith Lords to like create this giant thing. Like all the Sith together is like unleashing this power, and she's on the ground, and there's this cool kind of callback to all the I just thought it was cool that they got all of the old Star Wars actors to go in real quick and be like, you're not alone, Rey. So they've got like not only like your boys, like obviously Luke Skywalker in there, Mark Hamill, and Leia, but you've got fucking Samuel Jackson, you've got fucking Ewan McGregor,
Frank Oz, who was Yoda.
Dude, like just a really cool voiceover of like the Jedi like telling her step it up.
But where's Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson isn't allowed back at Disney.
Look, I'm gonna say, man,
the real canon in canon, Liam Neeson.
They've done your boy Qui-Gon dirty, man. They've gone back and retconned the prequels to put Hayden Christensen, young Anakin, in.
Oh yeah, they had Hayden Christensen. He did the voice in that part too.
That voiceover too. But they retconned him into excuse me, Return of the Jedi. But they never changed that scene in Empire Strikes Back where Ben Kenobi tells Luke to go to Yoda. He's the one who trained me, and blah blah blah. It's like, oh, did not Qui-Gon train you? Are we just leaving him out completely? And then also when Yoda's like on Dagobah and he's like, you know, I can't train him. He's blah blah. He's like, was I any different when you trained me? I'm like, so we're just pretending like Qui-Gon Jinn was never there.
But I mean, if you go back and watch Episode 1, at the end, Obi's still a Padawan.
Nah, he's a master. He had to make him a master so that Qui-Gon could take Anakin as his next Padawan. You couldn't have two Padawans.
He said you should take the test. You're ready.
Yeah.
But then, just magically after Qui-Gon dies, he gets moved up. I mean, even starting as a knight, like that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still need a lot of training. You still got to get to a master because you go from Padawan to knight. Qui-Gon Jinn wasn't a master; he was a knight. Obi-Wan was a Padawan. They moved Obi-Wan up to a knight to get an apprentice.
I just wish he would have said the way you and Qui-Gon trained me.
I mean, George Lucas didn't know back in the 70s he was going to have Qui-Gon Jinn.
You know what I want to know is if Billy D. Williams was clapping them young cheeks.
Yeah, my boy Billy D. at the end, some hot stormtrooper sits next to him, and she's like, "Where are you from?"
Ex-stormtrooper, of course. Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, where are you going?"
And he's like, "Where are you from?" She was like, "I don't know." He was like, "You trying to find out?"
Yeah, they did a whole part in there. They did a whole part in there. They're like, keep that in the script. Yeah, Billy D's going to get his dick wet.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. This is like a 56-year-old dude with some 20-year-old girl. They're just like, get it.
Did y'all know Billy D. Williams is the face of Steel Reserve?
Yes.
No, it's Colt 45.
No, Colt 45.
Oh, my bad.
The
flavored Colt 45. My bad.
Yeah, he's always been the face of Colt 45.
That's some G shit right there.
I was pretty stoked to see him, though. I was like, oh, shit, okay. Because it was like, okay, we get one more older actor from the movies.
We skipped over it.
My boy was a little stiff, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, no,
Liam Neeson was not in the montage of voices because of one reason and one reason only.
Yeah, let's get back to that. This is canon.
So Liam Neeson in a recent interview talked about
a year ago, but yeah.
I mean, it's pretty recent enough.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
He was talking about his friend or something's wife got raped while he was in Ireland. And then he walked around for a week afterwards trying to find a random black bastard.
A black bastard.
A black bastard.
A black bastard.
To fucking kill.
Oh, I'm out to find a black bastard in the streets. But I feel bad, though. Don't get me wrong.
My dude looked straight into a camera without breaking a fucking beat and said he was looking for a black bastard.
He was talking about some shit that happened. That's how he felt then.
It was a tricky situation though because he was saying this is a different time. Like he was like, yeah, this shit ran. The dark side ran through us.
You could have just. I mean, he could have just said I was just looking for some bastard to kill.
But
he
was keeping it 100.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of respect.
I was going to beat up a black dude.
Yeah, I kind of respect because that shows that how much because he feels bad. That shows that he really felt bad. He wasn't just trying to get social justice points. He was like, I'm showing it like it is.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to clean it up. He was just keeping it 100.
I was just going to commit a hate crime. It's chill, guys. I'm not that guy anymore.
You're trying to retcon history right now. It was different. Ireland, the most racist. We're white.
Yeah, so...
Have you been to Ireland?
No, but...
that's true. Honestly, I guess...
Have you been to Ireland?
Bro, you have been to Ireland.
Check your fucking privilege, bro.
Yo, you check your privilege at the cave door.
Have you ever been to Ireland, mate? Alright, so enough about Qui-Gon Jinn.
The black bastard. I was gonna kill him.
I think one of my favorite scenes was dude. Every scene, I loved Rey in this movie, dude. I loved her being just OP as fuck, and I love but I did love that scene where where Kylo's coming down on the ship, and she kind of waits him out, then does her little head start run. And then, kind of backflips, slashes the wing.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's my
is,
favorite part. Yeah,
that was so sick.
It was very much I guess I could have expected that, but I was just seeing it. I was like, that's fucking sick.
I will say, I really enjoyed the lightsaber fight scenes in this movie.
Yes, dude.
Because it wasn't all just whack ballet shit. There was emotion behind every swing. It was you could see Kylo hit her, and then she's shaking her hand off.
He was besting her in that scene.
I mean, they just were wailing on each other or using their force powers. It wasn't that fucking throne room scene shit.
Oh man, let's not.
Dude, I thought it was about to be.
You don't like it. But.
I thought it was about to be some Revenge of the Sith shit, and the parts of that big the Death Star about to start going into waves and shit, and they'd be jumping all around the waves,
jumping, just flipping onto different pieces and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I mean, I would have been there for it, but I would have been like, all right.
Yeah, I do love. Kylo Ren's like fighting style and stuff, and the way he is going at it with that slate. It doesn't look like he's pulling that shit. He's swinging, and the way he kind of flips around the back and has like gets that. Other
he uses
kind of
it more like a broadsword than like a fucking like.
He does, and
like
with the hilt on it, it seems like a broadsword.
Yeah, he's like two-handing the fuck out of that, man.
But I think thinking back now, I think one of my favorite.
Adam Driver's a beefy boy too. That's a big dude.
He's a tall boy. He's a tall boy.
No, he's thick too.
No, I'm saying,
bro.
but he's tall. Like, if you ever see him next to other actors, he's a tall boy.
I would not want to fight that fucking dude in real life.
What'd you think about that scene of him in Last Jedi where he's shirtless and he's
Bro.
got like the girdle?
What?
He's got like that girdle. You think my boy got abs?
I mean, he thick. I don't think he got abs.
Nah, yeah, you don't. If you got abs, you show them. You don't cover them.
Well, no, I mean, he was wearing high-waisted pants. I mean, that's just what it is.
That's canon, Mark.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. My boy was beefy.
I think it was just a weird choice.
No, I totally agree.
Adam Driver's kind of a weird-looking dude.
He's
man.
a weirdly shaped dude. Yeah.
But I think, dude, Kylo Ren.
Love his voice, though. Love his voice.
I love his voice. I love his acting. Adam Driver is such a talented actor.
Yeah, I think, honestly, like, seeing this, like, Rey, I like Rey, but a lot of it was very predictable, and I felt like I'd seen her arc before, but Kylo Ren is, like, the one character that's, like, big in this new trilogy. Well, it's not really new anymore, I guess, but, like, you know, the 7 through 9 trilogy that has a fully original character arc.
I think Kylo
there are parts that are derivative, but it's still overall new.
He has the strongest, like, just character in the whole movie.
He goes from bad to good, and he's conflicted the entire time. Like, even from the beginning, you're like, this dude's a little bit conflicted.
He's fighting off the light side from the beginning.
Can we talk about how we all thought that he was a coded incel at the end, and right before he died, he got it in?
Kylo was definitely the incel redemption arc.
Yeah.
He was completely just...
I kissed a girl.
I hate everyone.
He went from super space virgin to getting
no one
peck.
understands me. I'm gonna change the world with my force.
He got a peck at the end. Do you think he splooged in his fucking pants when he did that shit before he died?
He literally disappeared. my boy disappeared out of existence from that shit, bro.
Wow, there's nothing but a cum stain.
There's just a wet spot here. Where Kylo was a second
My
ago.
boy literally felt her stomach and then got a kiss and disappeared.
You know what? We had a pretty vanilla viewing audience with us as
Except
we
for that
watched.
old fuck I was about to scream at.
Oh, that dude that fell asleep?
No, the guy to the left that was like, shh.
Yeah, that was until
God.
the end. Like right at that kiss is when everybody started like. That you could hear the theater was split. People were like, "What? I did a what?"
You were like thin.
Some guy said something that was like, "I'm gonna need therapy after this." I was just like, "Shut up." It's fine.
But, like before that, no one was making a damn sound.
So in the first setting that I've seen it today, dude, I'm such a fucking dork, man. I saw Star Wars twice in one day. I devoted 6 hours of my day to Star Wars.
No, that's fine.
And a
Fine.
podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
But the first, like, people were like, I get so mad. Like, it's opening weekend, dude. Save your fucking emotions. I'm crying, but I'm crying silently. I cried a lot the first showing.
On the first watch.
The first watch. Yeah, dude.
Damn.
I get emotional, dude.
Nah, I caught some feels. There's a few parts I caught some feels.
I got choked up and had to look at the sky when Luke died in the fucking last one, dude. That shit fucked me up.
Yeah, I thought that's what I liked about Last Jedi was like it felt like there was more permanence and everything. Everything felt like it just was more weighted and like different and like actually really strayed from like what you expected. This one kind of felt like I don't know. I feel like I'm leaking back into like my criticisms, but I do kind of have some criticisms of this movie. I like it overall, but I don't know. I mean, we'll have the whole segment when we kind of give our final reviews on it. Let's talk more about the parts we like.
Yeah,
or that were weird.
One of my especially favorite parts is just like where her and Kylo are doing the kind of forced FaceTiming thing, and then now they're at a point where they can like fight. Apparently,
yeah,
through
just
it.
roll up,
and just like start attacking each other through it. What does that look like to other people?
It's like, oh, there it goes. He's just gone now.
yeah. Are you gone? Are you just fighting alone? Can they, like,
just fucking FaceTimed her. And
so I do have legitimate criticism now that I've thought about it. The Knights of Ren.
Oh yeah. We talked about that a little bit.
The
I
Knights
wanted
of
so
Ren,
much
man.
more from them.
So much hype built up around these Knights of Ren, and it's just like
These
4
motherfuckers-
dudes with like an axe and a staff.
Like medieval
Albeit
weapons.
they're vibro swords.
How did you know they were vibro swords?
Because why wouldn't they use most swords
in this? Yeah,
in the canon of the universe setting are vibro swords to stand up with.
What are they called? Vibro swords?
Vibro swords. Yeah,
I gotta get my girl one of them.
They vibrate at a certain frequency that a lightsaber cannot cut through. They're made out of Viscar steel. And they vibrate at a certain frequency. Viscar steel is what the Mandalorian armor is made out of, by the way.
Oh, Beskar, yeah, Beskar.
Oh, fuck, dude, my bad. Damn.
But that's what in the Mandalorian in the first episode. Is it the first episode? The second episode.
Yeah, he's got the knife that vibrates.
Because when I first watched it, I was like, "Damn, that must have been a fucking killer shot." Because he stabbed that thing with like one time and it died. But that's
how people would fight against the Jedi, was because those swords could withstand a lightsaber wouldn't cut through that sword because the frequency it vibrates at negates the blade going through.
So it's like Valerian steel.
So yeah, these knights.
What is Valerian steel?
You guys need to fucking watch Game of Thrones.
No, I don't.
All right, so yeah, you're right because he was like, "Me and my knights are gonna go find.
We're going hunting."
Yeah, and then you see the knights for like a little bit, and you're like,
"We're searching for the scavenger."
And you think it's gonna be like a little, like kind of like a side story where it's gonna be like the knights searching, just a little bit of a side story, just develop them, just introduce these dudes, but you just see their backs a little bit.
Yeah, can we introduce these guys?
And they whack they just come out like one time and like Kylo Ren just
groupies.
Fucks them up. They like punch him a couple times because he's unarmed.
But there's no, even in that scene, there's no stakes there because we don't know who the fuck they are. We don't know the relationship he has with them. These are just
killing dudes.
We know the relationship.
They're the students that he left with.
That he took with
there's
him.
No actual. Okay, that's fine. They told us that, but there's no real connection. You don't have any.
Yeah, honestly,
no
I
definitely feel like they could have built them up.
I feel like we even need to mention the fact that if y'all didn't catch that, when he kind of like turned good, those were his boys.
Those are his
the
boys.
Knights.
So you're supposed to be like, there's supposed to be some conflict there. I mean, I get,
and it wasn't there. You're just kind of like, oh shit, yeah, those guys.
Because he just chopped them up like stormtroopers.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah, you did fuck them up, man.
I loved how Kylo was like in his civvies. Like it's the first time you don't see him like in his like fucking his
they just
robe
put him in
a
thermal long sleeve.
Yeah, he's wearing like an H&M like long sleeve and some skinny jeans.
I was like, damn, bro, you could have came in with a cape on.
No cape, no cowl, nothing, no robe, not a thing.
Do something, homie.
Do people dress like that?
Yeah, I was also kind of bummed. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like when Finn, when he was talking to Rey about he was like, he was about to tell her that thing where they were sinking in like basically the quicksand.
He was gonna tell her he loved her.
Yeah, he was like, I gotta tell you something. And they sink down, and she was like, "What are you gonna tell me?" He was like, "I'll tell you later." And then he just never told her.
He's like, "Well, now that we're not dying, I've lost my nerve."
Like when they were writing the script, they were just like, "Yeah, no one cares."
I was gonna say, I did not want Finn and Rey together.
I shipped them.
Why, K-Town?
I did ship them.
No,
but it looked like it got a little.
Ray and Kylo had a much better.
Yeah, they got but
they had an actual connection, a literal connection.
I didn't know if I was still up until tonight. I was like, they could be possibly siblings.
Bro, he offered his hand to her.
He did, and she wanted to take it.
Just Ben's hand.
I got feels when they said that too. Actually, I was like, damn.
They have Kylo Ren is an amazing.
They have great. I'm not gonna lie. They have great chemistry. You know, that's the opposite of what we got with Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman in the prequels. That's like,
and it is interesting that chemistry is like come back in every single movie, and it's always in like chaos. It's kind of like this chaotic thing where they have this weird attraction to each other, but they want to fight it so badly, and I think that can be kind of relatable.
Oh yeah,
I think that's some subtext. I think is that actually has some real world weight, which I appreciate. I appreciate when it actually kind of connects the world, and that's the thing I guess about this that failed a little bit with me was just like I don't know, it just feels so. Okay, let me stop.
So we're getting back here. So we talked about some criticisms, which I guess we're gonna weave in and out of. Even though we did all enjoy this movie. I really like this movie. I want to see it again. We talked about some of our favorite parts.
So, why don't we do this? List of order of your favorite Star Wars movies.
Good idea.
I'm never good at these things, dude. I'm never good at these
We can retcon these later on.
Okay, we reserve the right to change this at any point.
Let's go in. We'll just go in,
Let me just go ahead.
So we're only talking just movies, no extended universe, no Mandalorian.
Yeah. No, we're talking just the films.
1 through 9. 1 through 9.
Are we talking side stories?
No, 1 through 9.
All right.
Oh, we can't do
All right,
Solo.
No Solo, no Rogue One, 1 through 9.
Rogue One's a trip, though. A lot of people really like Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One's probably still up there with me. It's still probably one of my top three.
I
But
think
leave Rogue.
the
Let's go with the
Skywalker
Skywalker Saga. Let's go ahead with the Skywalker Saga. I'm still gonna say
that
for
makes it
now.
easier, that's true.
I'm gonna hold fucking Empire still as my number one. Empire, and I'm gonna say for my number two. And this, I reserve the right to change this. Some of these are extra fresh in my mind, so but I'm going to say maybe Last Jedi, man. I really fucking loved Last Jedi. I just watched it again, like, last night, and I enjoyed it more than I ever had.
I want to watch it again. I feel kind of bad because, like, with making this list, Last Jedi is the one that, like, it's the only Star Wars movie I didn't see in the theater. At the time when it came out, I just didn't really... I was kind of, like, in a weird place. Like, literally, I lived in a different city away from my homies, and I just didn't see it in the theater. So,
oh, yeah, you're living in
Well,
Hampton.
hold on,
but I
Mark,
feel like it's great. But
finish-
go on.
finish
your
I'm
list.
just saying. I just want to comment.
So,
Empire, Last Jedi.
Empire, Last Jedi.
Wow.
Dude.
So you like the seconds?
Dude,
Yeah.
middle children,
chapters,
dude.
yeah.
You know, second
Except for
sons,
the other,
dude.
I know what you're going to say about the other middle chapter.
Empire Last Jedi. Okay, for my number 3, I'm gonna go ahead and say fucking episode 4, A New Hope. 5. This is where it's gonna get a little muddy.
I think
I'm gonna switch this around.
all right.
I'm not good at these. I'm gonna just give you guys my top 3, and I'm gonna say Empire.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give you my top 3. I'm gonna give you my top 3 and my bottom 3. How about that?
Okay.
Because the middle can switch around anywhere. Top 3: Empire, Last Jedi, New Hope.
Okay.
Bottom 3.
Bottom 3: Attack of the Clones.
That's
at the
the
very
number-
end.
okay,
That's
okay.
the end. Attack of the Clones, fucking episode 1.
You got
Fuck.
you got one. Are you gonna like do the entire original trilogy dirty? Or are you gonna put one of the other ones on the bus? That's your decision right now.
Yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, I'll put. Damn it! Do I want to put Return down there, dude? I don't.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna put Return. I'm gonna put Return of the Jedi down there. That's gonna be. But I don't think that's.
All right. Do you want to go next?
yeah, Kate, I think you got the strongest feels on this.
Yeah.
I'll go in order again. Like I said, the big reason I even talked about Last Jedi was because I feel like I'd like that movie more if I'd seen it more, so it might land a little bit farther than it will if I rewatch it. But right now, I might have a problematic list in some ways, but honestly, New Hope is my favorite movie out of the whole series because, I remember seeing it. It just has a lot of power to me. I remember seeing it in a theater, and it had so much power. It's the only Star Wars movie that's like has a full it starts and finishes, and because it was designed so that like they didn't know if they were going to be able to make new movies, it stands on its own, just an epic adventure, and I like that. So New Hope is great. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi too. He's my favorite character in the whole thing.
New Hope is amazing and introduces you to the story. It's the one that
the first
most
one.
of us started with, So it's like it's hard to turn your back on. And it's a great movie.
Yeah, and I like I said,
solid as fuck.
I really like Obi-Wan Kenobi's character. I'm really stoked that he's going to be getting a TV show eventually. But anyway, moving on. So New Hope, and then Empire Strikes Back for sure. It's just I think that's objectively the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I think most people feel it's yeah.
And objectively, it is the best Star Wars
It's a doozy,
movie.
man. It's a doozy.
Third one, my heart's speaking again. This probably isn't a lot. People aren't going to like this, but honestly,
Attack of the Clones?
No.
K-Town's face right now.
No. Honestly, I really, really like Episode 1. I know it's not a popular choice. I don't like the Gungans, like Jar Jar. He's not the best thing ever. But there's a lot of dumb shit in Star Wars, and it wasn't that bad. It didn't ruin it. But I love seeing a young Anakin. I love making C-3PO. I love the fucking pod races. I love fucking seeing Qui-Gon Jinn and training Obi-Wan. Seeing like Obi-Wan in that place, that was just really cool. Darth Maul's in it. It gets a bad rep, but honestly, it's got a lot of really good shit in it. So definitely, that's my order so far. Then. Return of the Jedi, probably next. I really love Return of the Jedi, which is a great movie. I kind of put those two together because they're kind of the more wild card movies. I think.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi is I feel like that is like a wild card movie. A little bit. I mean, I do love that movie. I hated to put that in the bottom 3, but I do love that movie. Like,
I mean, yeah, Return of the Jedi and Episode 1 both have vibes that feel different from the rest of the Star Wars series.
I'm sorry, I'm taking Return of the Jedi out of my bottom 3, and I'm going to replace it with
Got to choose a new one, or are you going to do the whole original?
No, keep going. Go ahead.
Okay, so I got New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi. Then I think Force Awakens. I did really like Force Awakens. I was super stoked to fucking see Force Awakens in the theater.
Movie, dude.
I really love Force Awakens. Then I'm going to put Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. Really liked Revenge of the Sith. You know, that was the.
I actually really love Revenge of the Sith. Actually,
it feels like Star Wars is fully fleshed out. It felt like it all paid off. It was a good ending to the series, to the original trilogy. I thought it was honestly, hot take. I think it might have been one of the best endings of any of the trilogies. The only reason I put Return of the Jedi higher than that was because the original trilogy is just so good. You know, but the prequel trilogy, the other two movies kind of tore that one down. But anyway, so. And then after that, I'd have to put Episode 8 because I'm just not as familiar with it, but I feel like I'd like it more if I watched it again. So Episode 8, and then second to last, I'm going to put this movie, Rise of the Skywalker.
Second to last?
Episode 9, yeah, it's second to last right now. And then bottom is you know, it's got a lot of important parts. I get arguments for it, but Attack of the Clones, man, it's just like okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. It just feels like so much could have been skipped over.
You need it, but it's just like it's such a drag.
It's a drag. It's a real drag. So yeah, that's my order.
No one's having a good time in Attack of the Clones.
and shout out to Hans to the Solo movie just because, you know, it's on the list, but I really like the Solo movie. Rogue One is great.
Man, I'm going to say, if you're shouting out Solo, then we're definitely shouting out Rogue One.
Oh, yeah. Rogue I'm just saying Solo because a lot of people shit on that movie. I liked it.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I saw it way late, and I didn't understand why people shit on it. I mean, it's not... It's good.
Yeah. Honestly...
I can never bring myself to say it's great.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Episode 9.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
You were really like turning.
I got. Don't get me wrong. I still enjoy this movie. I mean, I think the only Star Wars movie I don't enjoy is Episode 2. That's the only one where it's just like I don't want to watch the movie. But go ahead, K-Town.
All right. Empire.
Yep.
Rise of the Skywalker. Revenge of the Sith.
Woo! Okay.
New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Force Awakens.
Okay.
Where am I? Return.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1.
Mm.
Whoa, hold on. What did I skip over?
See, I feel like I need a piece
so
of paper.
you haven't gotten Episode 3. You haven't gotten Episode
yeah, he did. He did
Revenge
episode
was
3.
my
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, I mean Episode 2 or Episode
Oh, you know where that's going.
So,
yeah.
Empire, Rise, Revenge, Force Awakens, A New Hope. I keep getting lost in the sauce, man.
It's hard. It's hard. We should have.
You haven't done
whiteboard.
Episode 1 or 2.
Oh, Episode 1, Return.
No, you did Return already.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I need like a fucking pen.
That's
to
what
read
I
this
said.
shit
I need
now.
a piece of paper.
All
or
right,
something.
hold on. So Empire, Rise, Revenge, Force, New Hope, Return, Last, so Phantom, and then Attack of the Clones. So, all right, here we go. Jesus Christ, that was really hard.
I just put down my order too, so I'll be ready whenever.
So,
Yeah.
Revisit.
Empire Strikes Back, number 1. Number 2, Rise of the Skywalker. Number 3, Revenge of the Sith. Number 4, Force Unleashed. Force Awakens. Number 5, A New Hope. Number 6, Return of the Jedi. Number 7, The Last Jedi. Number 8, Phantom Menace. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. I will say Rise is probably...
It's hard to place that one because it's so fresh.
Yeah,
so it's hard
yeah.
to place that right now. That's where I'm having trouble.
I literally have watched all these movies in the last week.
It's been a little more than a week.
I've watched all of them, and I will definitely the top 3. I could probably argue with myself for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
but I everyone hates the prequels, man. But I think Revenge of the Sith is probably
Revenge of the Sith is a great.
It
movie.
is a fucking phenomenal movie.
I think it's a great movie, and I think it really does. It does kind of land the
How
plane.
How many other movies is there genocide in? Anakin Skywalker literally fucking goes and kills a bunch of kids, dude.
You were my brother, Anakin.
That whole scene like that, I just got choked up hearing you say that, dude. He's literally, I feel that every time he fucking yells that into the lava pit.
You were supposed to
be the chosen one!
You were supposed to bring balance to the Force!
That shit fucking hurts, man.
Yeah, I think
I hate you!
I hate you! I think that's, like, personally for me, like, where Revenge of the Sith won, like, encapsulating the whole thing, making that whole trilogy just hit, and it capped it off so well. That's what I wanted with Episode 9, and the reason I put Episode 9 so late was because it was like, okay, the end of that trilogy, of the prequel trilogy, it all gets wrapped up nice with Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi. It ends the way you kind of expect, but we find out some new things. Darth Vader turns against the Emperor. Darth Vader he kind of has a little bit of redemption at the end. But essentially, the galaxy is saved, and it feels appropriate because it's the last movie. But it's like, okay, new trilogy, but just like they just did the same shit, the same kind of ideas all over again in Episode 9.
You got to look at it this way.
It was just Episode 6 again.
The reason why Revenge of the Sith works so well as an ending is because we know we already know what it's tying up into.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I get
the
that.
Reason why we know where we're going.
We know what we're just seeing all the pieces line up into where we know for 100% fact where we're going. The reason why this isn't as strong as the feeling as that is because we have no idea what comes next. There's no anything. You went backwards.
Well, I think the inherent flaw of it is that, like, because you've got Episode 6 and you already wrapped up the whole world, like, that really could have been the end of everything. Like, attacking on these new movies could have, like, what I felt was, like, I thought they were going to end it in a way where it felt necessary to have tacked on these movies. But by the end of it, it felt like it was just like, okay, here's just some more Star Wars. There's the end. And we're just going to repeat the same kind of motifs that we had before.
I'm of two minds on that part because, like, you know, at the end of Episode 6, you know, everything's wrapped up, the Empire's gone, it's a big party, but that's not how the world works. What happens the next day?
There was a fall of government and a rebuild up. Like,
you have a whole military that doesn't just vanish.
But 9 doesn't leave you feeling any differently, though. I at least wanted to feel differently than how I felt with Episode 6. It was okay, the world is saved.
Like we're all saved again.
But they 100% annihilated the entire order. They didn't do that at the end of Return of the Jedi. They blew up one space station. There's still millions of soldiers everywhere. They literally, at the end of 9, destroyed all the Sith that have ever existed.
But the way they did it was so blankety. It was just kind of like, okay, just sweep it all. Just like, all right, we got all the Sith. They're all dead now. There can't be any more. Like, but it just felt kind of lazy to me. I don't know. Like, I liked it. I did like this movie. I would like to see it again some point in the future. But to me, it just didn't really... too many of the same motifs. I was just hoping for something a little bit new, something to make it feel like, wow, that's really... I don't know how they would have done it. I don't know what I even wanted out of it. I don't know what they could have achieved, but it just felt like recycling so much stuff. But nonetheless, I still liked it. I still like all the characters. I really like Poe. Poe's a really cool character.
Yeah, I've liked Poe.
I like Finn. I always felt like Finn... I always wanted a little bit more development with him. I hated the fact that when we first met Finn... he was just like in the middle of a battle, and he was just like, "This is wrong." I was like, "Yo, kill somebody! Like, give us some kind of guilt."
I felt, you know what? I always thought that was weird that Finn,
and that's
why I think this movie did help wrap this up. This kind of weird thing I had in my mind is that Finn is like the only stormtrooper ever to be like, "Hey, this is fucked up. Maybe I don't want to kill a bunch of people." Like, he's the only person who have ever done that, and in this movie, he finds out, no, you're not the only one to have ever done that. There's a whole shit ton of us, and we've been together.
But you know what? Like, the way that I connected that was like when you look at like veterans who have like who kind of feel bad for what they've done. They always have killed people. I always thought that would have been a little bit cooler. Where it was like he shot some people and he just felt really bad, but that was their Disney kind of easy version. And
it's hard to redeem yourself after you've already killed in a movie.
I don't think it was ever clearly stated if he's never killed anyone. I mean, he was a
That was his
stormtrooper
first
before
mission.
that.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was his
his
first
mission.
mission. He was just like, "This is wrong." And, but you know what? But then I was
Well,
thinking
that makes even more sense though, because you go through training and everything, and then he's thrown into a battlefield, and he's like, "No, I don't want to do this."
And they're
shit.
just shooting villagers and shit.
But you
like-
don't just turn around like usually like when they talk about I don't know. I just thought that would have been a little bit cooler, been like a little bit less easy.
Well, I mean, that's saying like getting drafted into an army. You go through basic training and everything, and then they throw you in Fallujah and they tell you to shoot a kid. You're like, "No, I'm not doing that."
I mean, a lot of times that is what happens.
I mean, that's what happens, but
Yeah.
not.
I
in
just
the
like
real
that.
world.
Like, it felt like we were supposed to accept that. Hey, Finn was too good to do any of the stormtrooper shit, and he's just the only one.
Well, that
And
I was starting to feel
I like that. That's not the case.
in this movie, and a little bit in if I remember correctly, in The Last Jedi, there's things that kind of hint of Finn kind of having some kind of like weird, like kind of force energy, like some kind of slight force energy. The way that he can detect how Rey's doing and all that, I was like, maybe that's going to be a thing, but then that never gets developed.
Well,
They just kind of let your boy Finn just drag because they were just like, nope, we're never going to find out how he actually feels about Rey. He's never going to say it. We never find out why he has this weird kind of like force stuff going on,
Well,
but
I
it never
think-
gets
I mean,
fleshed
but
out.
how do they fit that into? I mean, this movie. If you were going to tie up every single thing,
But they shouldn't bring it. They shouldn't bring it in there in the first place.
I mean, but that's the thing. You've had 3 directors direct. You've had God knows how many writers.
J.J.
Well,
Abrams
no,
did
no.
the first one, then he did this one.
he came back to wrap. I think
Yeah.
what happened was you've got J.J. Abrams, who I think it made sense that J.J. Abrams did Episode 7. It's like let's bring back the nostalgia, get everyone back on Star Wars
Yeah, it
mode.
was awesome.
Fuck yeah! Like I was there for that.
And then the second one just kind of was.
It switched it up. It had a different vibe, and it was like, okay, this really is a new Star Wars world.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
a good 45 minutes to an entire hour of that movie that is complete and total 100% garbage. That's why it's so low on my list.
That's objective. I mean,
No,
I
it's
mean-
not objective. You can talk to anyone.
It's-
No one.
I
There's
I mean, subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
there's not a person on this fucking planet that says there's a Star Wars fan and they're like, man, the casino scene was really fucking good. I love that whole arc.
I
of
didn't
story.
hate it,
What?
but I'll tell you one thing: I really didn't have much
and
recollection
the
of it until I
whole
watched
and the
it.
Yeah, I don't really
whole
remember it too well.
and the whole story. The story is you're finding out all these faults and this amazingly good character. Luke Skywalker is basically Jesus Christ of Star Wars. He's perfect and without sin, and he gives into temptation and almost kills a child because he's scared of what he could become. He gives into temptation and he isolates himself and completely abandons everything he stood for and has this huge character development arc. And then they're like, here's some wild horses in a casino.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense.
What I feel like they were trying to get at with the thing was just to show you that everything the Empire touches, even though it's nice and shiny on the outside, there's a darker side to it, and that's what she was just trying to show Finn Rose, because she was like, I came from a town like this. Look closer, and you see the broom boy getting beat, and they're beating the horses and shit, and you're like, oh yeah, this isn't as like glitz and glam as it looks. The Empire cuts deeper than just what you see like on the battlefront.
But everyone knows that. They're a fascist government.
Yeah, they're showing that angle.
You didn't need this weird spoon-fed, the 1%'s bad.
We never see it from that angle,
The-
though,
the
from the
one-
warmongers and...
I don't
like,
remember minding it, but again, I have to see that movie again. But I do remember feeling like that movie had a totally different vibe. Where it was like that's when it felt like the new trilogy had a real identity that was distinct from the others. But I think like by bringing back J.J. Abrams, it was because honestly, I think the problem is Star Wars fans. So many Star Wars fans tore up that movie.
Say it again for the people in the back.
So many Star Wars fans tore up Episode 8, and I think they were just like, all right, just get J.J. Abrams back in. We'll just clean this mess up. End it a good way. Here you go. Eat it.
I feel like a lot of the criticisms that the toxic fan base brought up were valid. I think the way they went about it and attacking the actors who had nothing to do with the
It's
story.
trash. That's horrible.
What's her name? Yeah,
The woman who plays Rose.
she had to delete her social media.
yeah, that's terrible.
Daisy Ridley deleted all her social media too.
Wow. Now, what I did want to say about what you were talking about though earlier about the way Episode 7 it's kind of rehashing a lot of old things. It's really basically Episode 4 redone.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that. I
Yeah,
definitely
same,
saw that when I watched it the first time, but I was fine with that because there's always the excitement of just being happy to have new Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But I also get the aspect of Disney playing it safe. Like, they just acquired this $4 billion IP from George Lucas. They're not just going with the wild card on the first movie. Technically, The Force Awakens was a $4 billion movie.
Yeah, in the long run.
You know?
So can I bring up
we're gonna
something
play it
interesting?
safe. By the time we get to Last Jedi, it's time to switch it up and go our own way.
Form a new identity for this trilogy.
Exactly.
So can I Last Jedi got 91 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 43% audience score.
Well, there's a story behind that.
Well, no, there's not really, because I'm reading the reviews and not all of them are toxic trash. And if you look at this film, it's 50% critic rating and 86% audience.
Well, there was talk that the critic or audience rating was sabotaged for the Last Jedi.
And Rotten Tomatoes also went in and deleted out like hundreds of thousands of reviews, and it still has a 43. The big, I mean, that's like we always say, the loudest people are always going to be the fucking, screechers. But I just, there's not a scene in this movie where I felt like it wasn't needed, or I was like, man, this sucks. There is a solid 45 minutes where hundreds of thousands of people agree unanimously that it is garbage
and is unnecessary.
It makes no fucking sense to be in this movie.
This is a good time to transition into what we kind of wanted to talk about, because I do see, like I said, I do love this movie. I'd like to see it again, but the one scene that sticks out in my mind that I think people will pick at, it's probably when they first go to that planet and they're having that celebration and stuff.
Yeah, but it's so quick.
It doesn't last long.
It's like 2 minutes of like cool colors. It was just like a cool color palette.
I'm sure people are going to hate that.
I mean, people are going to hate that, but it's not a 45-minute fucking scene.
Yo, how about that lesbian kiss at the end? There's going to be some toxic fan base when the
someone's going to have something to say about that.
No. That's where you're wrong there, bud.
What?
Every homophobic white dude loves lesbians.
As long as they're chicks.
Yeah, it wasn't two dudes making out. If it was two dudes, you'd have riots in the street. But it was two chicks kissing, and that's chill.
Yeah, I don't know. Finn and Poe were hugging pretty tight though there at the end. They Finn and Poe embrace a lot throughout this.
Disney was like, all right, y'all had Katy Perry 10 years ago. I kissed a girl and y'all fucked with that. We can have women kissing.
Whoa! But we all kings out here.
We all kings.
Yeah, like I'll tell my boys I love you every time I hang up on the phone with you and I hug you.
I love you, boys.
I love y'all, motherfucker. I love y'all, my kings.
Yeah.
We all wearing shirts right now that say kings. Shouts out to my mom. Bought us matching king shirts.
Yo, shouts out to K-Town's mom. Thank you for the shirts.
We the three kings.
We literally wore them to the movie theater.
We the three
We came
kings.
in there as three kings with Uncle Kyle as baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry you couldn't be with us for the recording.
All right, so do we need to end this with the good times of killing us segment? Do we like this movie like a final thumbs up, thumbs down?
Didn't we do a thing? Didn't we decide a thing for this? Like with Spoilercast, how we're gonna do it? We need to remember our own rules.
Yeah, we'll have done one in a minute. So maybe we'll just roundtable our final thoughts on it. Say overall, do we like it? Do we not like it?
I mean, why don't we just talk about like our feelings going forward and like how much the series as a whole means to us? I mean, this is the end to the Skywalker Saga. There's not going to be any more movies in this timeline. This is like the book's closed. It's done. There's no more pages. It's over. A strong part of at least my childhood. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
This is the end of it. We all can tell we all liked the movie. You liked the movie.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah,
some legitimate criticisms for it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But overall, we all really enjoyed this movie, right?
Yeah, I'm glad I saw
absolutely,
it,
dude.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so,
I'd really like to see it again.
I mean, we could just all take turns saying the same exact thing we've been saying for the past hour, or we can maybe end it with our feelings.
So
yeah, let's. Are Star Wars feeling us?
All right. I'm gonna give you my Star Wars feels, dude. When I didn't grow up, no one in my family was fucking into Star Wars. Right? When the movies, I think it was like in the late 90s when they started remastering the original movies and putting them back in theaters. That's when I first saw Star Wars. That's when I first saw New Hope. I saw all three of them in theaters. I think they dropped like within a year of each other to prepare for Episode 1. And dude, I was sucked in from the first time I saw New Hope, dude. Completely captivated, completely on board. It's like the coolest shit. laser swords, dude? Come the fuck on.
Man.
I think if no one would ever, if you're not into Star Wars, fucking lightsabers are cool. You got to admit. So, but I mean, and I saw the original trilogy when I was a kid. I mean, not the original trilogy, but the prequels, like as they came out. And I remember enjoying them. I was a kid, and by the time Sith came out, I was a little bit older, but I really loved that movie. I saw that movie in theaters like 4 or 5 times.
It should hit, yeah.
So these movies just coming back out recently, like in 2015 or whatever, it's huge. It was huge. Like I said earlier, I'm just happy to get more Star Wars and like shows coming out and everything. It's just awesome. So with this whole Skywalker saga coming to an end, maybe it just hasn't hit me yet that it's all over, but I just know that Star Wars, we're going to get Star Wars shit every year, content every year, probably forever.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that.
So I feel like, I'm definitely okay with that. And so I feel like it's the end of a saga, but this is also the beginning of something new.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it next. We can kind of go in that order. Yes, I had a really similar experience. I think when I was like really young, I saw A New Hope in theaters. It was my first time seeing a Star Wars movie straight up in a theater. My mom took me. I didn't see episode 5 and 6 in theaters. I actually just I saw A New Hope, came back, and then just watched all the old Star Wars movies in their original versions, and then as the remasters would come out, I got the 3-pack with all of them, and I watched them over and over and over and over and over again as a kid. It was just that's just what I did. It was just okay, you know, I have some free time today. I'm going to pop in whichever movie I want to, watch them over and over and over again. And then episode 1 came out. I remember being super fucking stoked. I mean, I was a little kid. I was about the same age as Anakin Skywalker was in that movie, which made it hit even harder. And I loved it. I loved the pod racing. I loved the pod racing video game that came out in N64. Honestly, that really fucking connected with me. That shit was awesome. I loved it. And I was a kid, so I didn't really see it. I didn't really see any of the failures that people made about it. Which going into episode 2 is a similar type of thing. Episode 2, there was a sweet a video game that came out. It was like a Clone Wars video game. I really loved Star Wars Battlefront. It was one of the original Battlefronts. I loved that game. Episode 2 was all right. I remember episode 3 just blew me away, and it felt like that was like my Star Wars world, and it felt like they brought it back for our generation so we could experience it all brand new, and it cultivated. It ended well. It felt like, wow, there's episode 3. Wow, I'm going to go watch episode 4 through 5, 6 again. Wow. And I felt like Star Wars was over forever. And then, they announced episode 7, and I was all for it. I was so stoked. I saw it. I loved it. I definitely felt like it was derivative of the old movies, but it was appropriate. I got it. I understood. But I love the new characters. I love the new world. I was asking everyone, we were all talking, who are Rey's parents, blah, blah, blah. And I really enjoyed it. For me, after that, I kind of fell out a little bit just because I wasn't really... just where I was at the time, I wasn't really ready for. There wasn't as much hype in my world. I didn't see Last Jedi in a theater, and it kind of sucks. I feel like maybe that kind of emotionally disconnected me from this new trilogy. But I do remember when I watched it, I was
steam a little bit.
Yeah, lost some steam. I remember seeing it, and I remember being captivated again. And seeing the Mandalorian coming out, watching the Star Wars stories.
Shouts out to the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian's great. I like Solo. I loved Rogue One, and it was really cool to go see Rise of Skywalker. And I've already said it before, Rise of Skywalker. I really liked it, but yeah, it didn't really feel like the end of a big thing. It didn't have nearly the type of impact that Episode 3 had on me when I was a kid. Episode 3 hit way harder than Rise of Skywalker, but it wasn't a letdown. In the end, it felt a little bit predictable. The magic wasn't quite there for me, but you know what? Yeah, we're always going to have Star Wars, and I think we're going to have these new series that are going to fill in some of the gaps. We're getting new Mandalorian. We're getting a Obi-Wan series. I'm looking forward to seeing a new film series launch, and hopefully they take some time. Hopefully, we get another 10 or 15 years, launch a brand new film series that takes place either way before or way after the Skywalker Saga, and I think that'd be cool. We'll be all old, showing our kids when they're old enough to watch.
I'm already trying to push this on my daughter a little bit.
And that's going to be beautiful. I think they need to make it separate by generations. I think we need time until we fully launch a new Star Wars trilogy. But overall, man, the Force is strong with me. I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars to death. And I'm going to keep watching The Mandalorian and the new Obi-Wan series. I'm looking forward to these new TV series.
Yo, shouts out to little baby Yoda.
He's okay.
Cut it out.
All right, go ahead, K-Town.
I don't know, man. Star Wars is just... There's nothing more in my child or adult life that has influenced me more than Star Wars. I've been watching Star Wars since I was as long as I can remember. My first like VHS tape that I broke was A New Hope. I watched that every day. I had a really sad and depressing childhood growing up, and Star Wars was my escape.
You
Dude,
keep it,
same,
you keep
same.
it light, K-Town. I'm not trying to keep anything else out.
I kept all that shit out.
No, it just
I kept my loneliness and depression out of my
Star Wars was my escape, man. It was an amazing story. Luke Skywalker was just a miserable person who wanted to...
Luke Skywalker was my father figure because I didn't have another one.
Yeah,
he
wanted to escape, and he had all these hardships and all these horrible things happen to him, and he still was able to do good and to have the strong spirit and will to keep going forward and do what he was destined to do. And I just really, really connected with that. And I don't know, man, just Star Wars, like everything about it is just amazing. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm getting choked up talking about it.
No, and I feel you.
It sucks that it's
really
ending.
do,
like, it's such an important part of my childhood, and it's over. It's like I don't know, man. It's hard to describe.
But it's not over, K-Town.
Yeah, it's
you
not
know
over.
why? Because it's right here,
it's not.
buddy.
Yeah, it's in
right
my
here.
heart and everything, man. But I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like your uncle passing away or something almost. Like I mean, it's like that to me, man. It's the end of a saga. The end of. It's kind of like me closing the chapter on my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can feel you to an extent. It's
Yeah.
I
like,
mean,
hey,
Mandalorian and shit's cool, and I'm sure all this other shit's cool, but
Mandalorian's cool.
I'm not going to have
Wow.
Mark Hamill to watch and listen to his voice,
His facial expressions.
his facial expressions. I mean, Luke Skywalker as a character is like my ideal of like who I would want to be.
I love Luke Skywalker.
I
in
thought
the
I
trilogy.
loved Luke Skywalker, but I really love Old Man Luke. Like Old Man
Yeah.
Old Man
like,
Luke is amazing, man.
Great.
It's
He's
just
the greatest.
It's really surface level if you watch these movies and you're not huge into them. You see this kiddie kind of just cookie cutter shit, but if you really go in, you see like just real hardships, just fighting against your heritage and fighting against your blood and fighting for what's right and despite your surroundings,
standing up against like
adversity and everything, man. It's fucking.
I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from Star Wars to me is like that standing up against what might seem like a monumental enemy or force, and just coming at it head to head.
I mean, this Star Wars to me is like how most people like are raised and get their morals from like religion.
Yeah.
You're raised up in a church, and you know right from wrong because it's preached and shoved down your throat every day, and that's kind of how your moral compass is built.
Yeah,
For a lot of people, Star Wars was that for me. Star Wars was my moral compass. It
Yeah, when I was
instilled my sense of right and justice.
when I was a kid, I definitely saw the Force as this kind of enigmatic, like, spirit that, like, we can all kind of tap into. You know, this idea, like, the Force felt like something that was real, even in the world. Like, when Qui-Gon Jinn is talking about it, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, you feel like you understand what they're talking about. Like, this connection that we can all have to the real good. Even, it's hard to see because there's so much bad in the world that you can see so easily. There's so much evil that surrounds us, yet the Force is this benevolent power
that
we
moves
can all,
through you and is like in all around and in between.
that we can tap into. You can't see it. You just know. You know it when you feel it.
Here's what I love about Star Wars.
It's powerful.
Yeah, this is what I love about Star Wars, and this is kind of maybe come as a slight criticism on Rise of Skywalker, but not really. But the way the Force works, and I like the way that Luke touched on it in The Last Jedi when he said he would never train any more Jedi, and he was teaching Rey about the Force, and he's like, yeah, it's all through everything. And he's like, to say that the Jedi own it or that it would go away if the Jedi died is vanity. Because you don't own it. It moves through you. And this is why I like the idea of Rey's parentage being what we thought it might have been in the first one and not being related to anyone of importance or anything. I really would have liked the idea of her parents being nobody because it kind of pushes that fantasy narrative of just like anybody can be the one.
It's on this right.
You don't have to be. Yeah, it's not a right of. I mean, it's not
Right of
like
throne
a
type of
heritage
thing,
thing, or you're born from this family that they're the ones, and so you're born into this world. But anybody, Broom Boy from Last Jedi, can be the one. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important message that always resonated with me about the Force. Like, anybody, and I always took this, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, but I always took it as the Force, anyone can use the Force. You don't, your Force-sensitive people aren't, like, anyone can be Force sensitive if you tapped into it and tried to. You know what I'm saying?
Like, the Jedi are just the people that have, like, kind of, like, figured out a pretty good system of honing it.
Who have honed it and have it down to a science, to as much as they can.
Yeah.
But it's there, like air.
Well, not to get all nerdy, but there are certain races that don't have an affinity for the Force whatsoever.
At all?
At all.
No, I don't like that.
I mean, that's not canon anymore, but...
You know, I'm going to miss, I honestly have a special affinity for your boys, R2-D2 and C-3PO. I just want to give a shout out to them. Because when you think about it, they're the only characters that are pretty much the same for 9 fucking movies. They're there the entire time, and they're the exact same characters. Shoot.
3PO had a moment here for a second.
Yeah, dude,
movie. That was fucking unnerving,
when they had to erase C-3PO's memory, I was like, no.
But just when he came back
so much.
Yeah, I just didn't like when he came back and did the voice to say the note. I was like, woo, that's not my boy.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting, though. I was like, and again, it was one of those things where, like,
it was fucking jarring. Yeah, it was.
It really hit. It's like, that stuck. C-3PO does not have, he just lost a bunch of his memories. The one guy who's seen more, he's seen all the shit that everybody's been talking about, and now that one pair of eyes has forgotten, like, most of it.
Well, I will say, like you were saying about the Force, Mark, we can kind of just say that about Star Wars in general. This chapter's ending and everything, and it feels like it's closing out for us, because it's the end of a saga that meant so much to our childhood and our adult life. It's closing out, but it's still going on. Your daughter's going to grow up and experience all of it. That's fucking crazy.
And I'll get to relive that.
You'll get to relive that magic through her. You get to
watch
see
that Vader reveal.
Vader reveal
dude.
through her eyes. Yeah. Like, that's dude. Like, Holly's kid, man. She posts videos of him like getting like watching Star Wars and shit and getting like shocked by everything. Like, that's fucking awesome, man.
Shouts out to Holly.
Yeah, shouts out to Holly, dude.
It's a special childhood memory. The first time that if you have the experience of seeing the Luke, I am your father, and not knowing the spoiler. That's I had that moment personally. When I saw that the first time, I didn't know. I didn't have cable, so I didn't really know about anything like that. So that just really hit hard. Stuff like that will always be there. Those moments will always be with us. And Star Wars, I mean, honestly, Star Wars is the same way that, like, the way that we're looking back on the Odyssey from ancient Greece, on these certain stories that just lasted so long.
Star Wars is timeless. It's
thousands of years from now, Star Wars will still be.
It's gonna last longer than we will.
Yeah.
We're gonna pass away one day, and there's still gonna be a kid that's gonna be experiencing Star Wars for the first time.
Star Wars and probably like the comic book movies and worlds are kind of like the real. They've stuck, and those ideas will probably last for a very long time, and they're going into the annals of history, and by the annals of history, they are the annals of the human experience. They're this capsule of human feeling and what we all wanted and needed at a certain time and place in our history, and those will be the things that really speak the most about us in the long run, for people that look back on the people of our time that lived during the 20th and 21st century. Yeah, we're trying to end this shit. I'm like, we're about to ascend into the Force our fucking selves.
Yo,
dude, I fucking
shouts as the 3 Force Ghost Kings.
I fucking feel like it, man.
Yeah.
Yo, and I swear to fucking God, if Martin Scorsese comes out and says something bad about fucking Star Wars. I saw The Irishman. That shit sucked.
Whoa! I saw half of it and I didn't finish the rest of it.
Hey man, your boy saw half that shit.
Yeah, that shit sucked.
Oh, the first half, but I'll finish it. Okay, so alrighty guys, so this has been great, y'all. It's the end of an era, and we could not say that any more confidently. This is some real shit, and I hope in the bottom of my heart that y'all all fucking loved your experience with these movies, whether you liked it or you hopefully didn't hate it too much, The Rise of Skywalker. And if you're like me, if you saw the faults and you felt like not everything was perfect, just remember that
don't do it.
It's important. It's important. It's an important thing. It still is the end of something. We've all been through this together. I hope that you all see it with your boys. Hope you saw it with your boys.
Sons.
We saw it with our kings. I saw it with these two gentlemen right here, some of my best friends in the whole wide world who We've known each other for so long, and it was great to finish this out with you guys. And I hope that everyone out there, I hope you finish this movie with your families or your friends, and you tap into a little bit of the true goodness that resides within you. That does reside within all of us in the Force.
May the Force be with you.
Always.
Well, we're dead.
There was something else going on in Jedi. I never noticed it till today. They built another Death Star, right?
Yeah.
Now, the first one was completed and fully operational before the Rebels destroyed it.
Luke blew it up. Give credit where credit's due.
And the second one was still being built when they blew it up.
Compliments of Lando Calrissian.
Something just never sat right with me that second time around. I could never put my finger on it, but something just wasn't right.
And you figured it out.
The first Death Star was manned by the Imperial Army. The only people on board were stormtroopers, dignitaries, Imperials.
Basically.
So when they blew it up, no problem. Evil's punished.
And the second time around?
The second time around, it wasn't even done being built yet. It was still under construction.
So?
So a construction job of that magnitude would require a hell of a lot more manpower than the Imperial Army had to offer. I'll bet they brought independent contractors in on that thing. Plumbers, aluminum siders, roofers.
Not just Imperials. Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. In order to get it built quickly and quietly, they'd hire anybody that can do the job. Think the average stormtrooper knows how to install a toilet main? All they know is killing in white uniforms.
All right, so they bring in independent contractors. Why are you so upset at its destruction?
All those innocent contractors brought in to do the job were killed. Casualties of a war they had nothing to do with. All right, look. You're a roofer. Some juicy government contract comes your way. You got a wife and kids, the two-story in suburbia. This is a government contract, which means all sorts of benefits. Along come these left-wing militants and blast everything within a 3-mile radius with their lasers. You didn't ask for that. You have no personal politics. You're just trying to scrape out a living.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but what are you talking about?
The ending of Return of the Jedi.
My friend here is trying to convince me that any independent contract...